Just referring to the pink card that Kathy made mention of earlier, that is in your bulletin about the worlds of faith. It seems somehow very timely that next Sunday in this place, we're going to have Rabbi Mark Glickman here with us. He comes to us from B'nai Tikva synagogue. And I talked to him, of course, a couple of months ago and could have had no idea that within this period of time that his faith community would undergo such egregious pain and sorrow. But on our behalf, I left word with him this morning, because I have his phone number. I left word with him this morning about our deep sorrow and our broken hearts at what his faith community is enduring, and the worldwide Jewry is enduring at the moment. My hope and prayer is that you'll spread the word that we will have the rabbi with us next Sunday to be with us and to speak with us a wee bit about the belief system of our Jewish sisters and brothers, and that there will be a question and answer period at the end of the service. And this is all part of, as the insert tells you, about confirmation classes for our youth and young adults, for them to have an understanding that they're standing in their Christian faith, but that there are many other faith communities in this world. And how do we learn of one another, and how do we learn to live together in peace? It seems we were planning this back in August, but today it feels more timely than ever for me that we welcome people into our faith community here who will share with us their deep faith, and for us to learn and to grow together. So my prayer is that as many of you as possible will take advantage of this opportunity. We're going to be meeting with our Muslim friends as well, from the Unitarian Church and from Native Spirituality. May you look on this as a rich time of conversations, that we might be in community with one another and build bridges of shalom and peace to one another in this fractured world of ours. And that takes me to Jesus. Always seems to take me back to Jesus. One of the things that has happened, and I know that in my heart, that if Jesus were able to physically stand beside me here, that he would be crying with me. He came into this world and lived a very short period of time on this earth. And in that time, he sought to build bridges and to find ways to be in community and communion with peoples of the world. And in that time, he did make mistakes as well. And that is what I'm heartened by, is the fact that I invite you to go home and read this scripture passage about the fig tree. I love this part of the story, the stories that are left to us, because it shows the humanity of Jesus. We've often placed Jesus in such a place, in this glorious place of the Son of God, who has come to save the world. But it is very important for us as a faith community to recognize that he was a human being, that he was born into the world as a human being who lived in a specific culture and time. He was Jewish through and through. He knew Torah. He was the eldest son in his family, and so he would be expected to read Torah and to know it and to live it. And somehow we as Christians, because the Christian church developed out of that as followers of Christ, we lost our way. We lost our way because when we became Christians, we denied his Jewishness. Do you know how stunning that news is for some people, that Jesus is a Jew? That is absolutely stunning news for some people. They have not given honor and glory to the fact that that's who he was. And as a result of his death and his crucifixion and all that came out of that, as a result of that, this groundswell of hatred to Jewish people grew in the Christian church. Anti-Semitism, the seeds of it, were born on the day that Jesus died on that cross. And now we reap what we have sown. What we heard and saw of what happened in Pittsburgh is not a surprise when you do any study of history whatsoever about the rabid anti-Semitism that there is in this world. Do you know there are only 20 million Jews in this world? Why are people so afraid of them? There are only 20 million Jews in the world. And yet, these seeds of hatred and anti-Semitism that are deep and grow and become evil and vile and wicked. Did you hear those words? Evil, vile, and wicked. And we who are loving Christians, if we would name ourselves as that, then we must work very hard on behalf of our Jewish Christians, Jewish sisters and brothers, so that we might put an end to this evil, vile, and wicked anti-Semitism. You know what? It's as much our work as anyone's. Because it is out of that root, that Jewish root, that we have grown. So it is important for us, I can't say this to you more strongly, it is important for us to examine our own hearts and root out any of those seeds that take us back to the cross, that say those Jewish people were the Christ killers. I've heard that more in my lifetime than I ever want to hear. So when Jesus speaks about the fig tree, which he cursed, by the way, and caused it not to be able to produce anything, you notice that he kind of does a segue, and then he starts talking about forgiveness. And you know why I think he started talking about forgiveness? It's because he needed it. Because he needed it. Because this innocent fig tree, who wasn't supposed to give figs in that season, he walked by, he was hungry, he was probably cold and shivering, and said, "Well, come on, fig tree, give me figs." It had none to give because it wasn't the season for figs to be growing. And he cursed it. And so then, when they came back around, and the disciples heard it, so when they came back around and they found the fig tree dead, Jesus doesn't even talk about the fig tree. He kind of does this segue. And he talks about forgiveness. Because I believe in my heart when I read that he knew he needed it too. It speaks to me so much of his humanity and how he understood how each one of us makes mistakes and does things that we regret, hopefully we regret. I don't know many of the answers to the struggles we have in this life, but I am committed to trying. I'm committed to trying. And if you have anything that you are committed to, may it be committed to trying. To find hope, to share hope, to dream dreams, to build bridges, to root out within yourself your prejudices, my prejudices, so that we never give up on the dream of reconciliation, restoration, hope, peace, compassion, justice, all the things that Jesus died for. May we be willing to do the same.